just thinking from your own type of work, a huge problem is obviously trying to relate that to people who don't have any water security issues, or as I say, when they twist the tap, it comes on. I mean, they consider their own country insulated from any problem. So from your own experiences, how hard has it been to get the message to a society like Ireland that this is a problem that they need to take into consideration?
I think it is difficult. I mean, I think that's the power of the film for me was quite good in that sense. I think it is tricky because, I mean, you know, I come from Scotland where we get probably as much rain as here. And it is, I mean, I think then it really feels like, well, you know, we're sitting in the middle of this wealth resource, it's not our problem. And I think one of the main ways, and also I feel like there's been, you know, over the past, you know, while, a lot of the kind of messages coming out about climate change, about environmental issues are very much kind of like very preachy and kind of like, oh, you're so bad and you've done this and you've done that. And actually I think the way of involving people is showing them how directly linked up they are to these global problems. And I think if you do that, it's still a particular concerned audience who's going to get involved, but you can get more people involved by the way we think about the world, and not just the world out there, but the world that we live in, you know, locally. And the fact that, you know, if something happens to this person, it's really happening to me also. That idea of standing together in trying to, I mean, I know I sound very hippy-dippy now, but trying to construct a global society that we would all want to live in. And I think that those messages as well can be appealing to certain people. But I think it isn't easy. It's much easier to talk about a problem that people see every day. It's much more difficult in Ireland to talk about a problem like water, where, you know, you go out for a month and it rains on you every day. So, you know, there are challenges. Yeah.
I was just wondering what your opinion on like taxing public water. Obviously, like, it's a big issue down here, and
yeah,
I was kind of under the impression that in a country like Ireland it'd probably be a good idea to tax the public supply of water. But I was wondering what you.
Well, I mean, you see, the thing is, like, I think it's very important to kind of, you know, go between, are you paying for the water, or you're paying to make sure that the water supply is a supply that's, you know, like, decent and available. And I think that the message, you know, that's going around Ireland at the moment is about we're paying for our water, we never used to pay for our water. Basically, I feel there is a difference between, if you want a resource, to manage the water is costly, and that guy said at the end, it is costly, it's not free. If you were to manage your own water, there would be costs involved. If you had to walk 10 miles and back, and if you had to treat your water, if you had to boil your water, there would be a cost involved in that. That's the management of the water, that's not the water itself. And that has to be distinct. However, and this is the however that's very important, water is a right. So therefore, if somebody can't afford to pay that basic amount, then they have to be able to have access to that for free. Because otherwise it means if you're rich you can have water and if you're poor you can't. So you've got to have a system, and this is where I think, you know, Ireland's got a chance now to put a system in place that could be fair and just, and may well not be. But there has to be a system where there's a basic amount of water that's available to people, and then there's a charge that's put forward for people who can afford it, and also to make sure that infrastructure gets in place. But it shouldn't be charging for the resource, it's charging for the management of the resource, which is separate. And I know not everybody would agree with me, but that is my
I never even thought about paying for water before, but it actually is free. Like, no one does it.
but
Yeah, I think we are quite isolated, so it's kind of hard to get the point across to certain people. Like communities like that are very good, but it's hard to reach a wider community. Because we're just like we're an island, we never really have many issues with water, so it's kind of hard to get people to change their ways, I suppose.
The fact that we get so much rainfall that we just expect that there will be a supply of water constantly.
Yeah, I think it'll just be up to us to make sure we don't waste the water that we have.
Spread the